Let's take a look at how we can do graphing systems of inequalities using the TI NSpire calculators that we have in our classrooms. So we start off by going to the graph by using this button at the top left of the calculator that switches us between the calculator scratchpad and the graphing scratchpad. So we go to our graph, and then if we want to graph this system from number 1 on this worksheet, we can put these in as relationships. So we go to menu and then graph entry, and then function we can only use if they're in the y equals mx plus b or y is greater than or less than mx plus b format. So we're going to pick relation, and we're going to type in it exactly like it is there. So 3x plus y, and then to get the less than, we do control and then click on the equals button. The equals has all the inequalities in there. So we're going to put less than 1 and press enter, and that's going to graph our first inequality. Then to add another one, we just go to menu, graph entry, relation again, so menu 3, 2. And then we're going to put x and then control equals to get our less than or equal to sign, and negative 2. So we're graphing these two equations right here, inequalities right here. And then the first one we put in is shown in blue, the second is shown in red. You can kind of see that this blue line is a dotted line. If you use this to move your cursor over it, it becomes more apparent that it's a dotted line, and this is a solid line. So it may be hard to tell without actually putting your cursor on it, but that shows you whether it should be dashed or solid. And then the first line, it shades in blue, so this is shading below that line and to the left of it. Then the second one shades in red, so it's shading to the left of that vertical line. And then it's kind of an overlapped color where they're both shaded. Here, we can't see anything that's only shaded in red, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to go to zoom and pick zoom out, and then pick the center as just the middle of my graph. And now, with it zoomed out a bit, we can see that there's a just red area up here, a just blue area, and then the overlapped kind of combination of red and blue there. Let's look at one more of these to see how to do it. To clear our graph, we do doc and then the letter B. And then we'll use this button to go back to our graph again. If you have a function up here, you can delete it and switch it to a relation. So I can just hit delete and switch it to relation there. We're going to do number 2 now. So y minus 2 is less than or equal to 2/3 x. Note that to graph it on our paper, we probably rearrange it into slope-intercept form like this. But we don't need to do that in the calculator. We can just do y minus 2 and then do less than or equal to 2/3x. And hit enter. And that gives us our first blue line. See, that one is a solid line by using this mouse thing to move our cursor over it. We can see that it's solid. And then we're going to go to add another one. We can either go to menu and then graph entry relation like we just did, or just press tab to open up a second graph entry. And then we're going to put negative 3y plus x is less than 18. That gives us our red line. If we put our mouse hover over it, we can see that that's a dotted line or a dashed line, not a solid line. It's shaded above the line, so when we get up to past the blue line, we have just red. Below the red line, since we're shading the blue below, we have just blue. And then in between them, we have this common shaded area. Again, we can't see the unshaded area, but if we wanted to, we could go to zoom and zoom out, and just zoom out a couple times to see that we have an unshaded area down here, kind of as a vertical angle to the one that's double shaded. So that's how we graph using the calculator to show two inequalities and find our common shaded region. This is a really useful tool for checking that you drew it correctly on your paper. So if I go back to Window, Zoom, Standard, then you can see that this looks very much like the graph drawn on the paper, so that would confirm to me that I had drawn my lines correctly and shaded correctly.